Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
What's going on, travelers? What's going on? It's Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we're here with another episode of the Success Journey Show.
Yes,
man,
sir.
we are excited. We're downtown DC, man, just really having a good time today with our guests, which we're going to introduce in a second. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in again, man. We can't do this without you. We come every single week because somebody's in their car wanting to listen. Someone's in their living room doing their chores or whatever, cleaning their house. Like, yo, where's the Success Journey Show podcast? We miss a week, we start getting phone calls. So we're here for you, right? And like we always do, we bring a phenomenal guest on the show just to have a conversation with, so you can see the behind the scenes journey on their lives. So Marlon's gonna do the introduction today, but don't forget to go to our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com, and check out everything that we got going on now and in the future. All right, go ahead, Marlon.
Hey, let me tell you something. So this introduction is going to be a little different. I'll just give you the story. I was laying up in my bed, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we just had gotten TikTok for the Success Journey Show. So I'm like, let me see what this thing is all about.
Yeah.
And I come across this young man, and he's talking some stuff, and I was like, oh snap! And then I just started getting pulled into it, and I was like, wow, they tell me that TikTok is all about just people dancing on it and doing crazy stuff, but somebody here is talking some real stuff. And then I contacted JP, and here we are today. So we have none other than Jean-Pierre Alfred. All right, we call him, for the rest of the show, we're just gonna call him JP. How you doing, JP?
I am doing great. I'm humbled because, like I told you guys before, stuff is weird to me. Like the way that you were laying up in bed, I went viral right here in this office. I got phone calls, and I thought it was weird. It was a mistake because I thought I was responding to people inside of their DMs or something like that. Little did I know, I started getting calls from Alaska, from New York, from the UK, from friends that I know, and they're like, "Are you on TikTok?" And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about? It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Why are you calling me right now?" I'm like, "I'm at work, but huh? This doesn't make sense." And it ended up being that I was responding to everybody, and then it brought us to where we're at today, to where I'm doing these interviews. And again, I'm humbled by it, because coming from the ethos where we come from in the military, it's quite professional. You do your work. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't do it for accolades. You just do it. But I guess it's a thing now, so I'll use it for what it's worth, I guess. I don't know what it's worth yet, but I've met some of the most interesting people, and helped some of the most interesting people, which is the best part about it. Being able to help people more than anything.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Man, with
sir.
that story, man, I know we talked about this before, but now that I'm thinking about it, as you're saying this, are you one of those stalkers, man, online, man? Inboxing everybody, DMing them? Like, wait a minute. I'm joking.
Listen, the way my inbox looks, it is insanely spicy. I started off saying that I was going to get back to everybody, but now it's a 3-alarm fire in there.
Yeah.
I don't even check it anymore.
Yeah, you got to hire somebody.
I'm not even going to do that. Not even going to do that at this point. So it's been a ride, and I'm enjoying it for what it's worth. I just hope that the ride ends up good, more than anything. As long as it helps people, that's all that matters. As long as it helps.
Love it, man. Love it. JP, man, take us back, man. Take us back to the origins, man. Where are you coming from? What does your journey look like prior to the TikTok blow up? You know.
So I would say that it was one of high, low, literally peaks and valleys in the entire life. However, I will say when you get a chance to sit down and think and self-reflect, you start to see that everything is interconnected and nothing is separated. Again, like me and Marlon were talking about, Marlon's Jamaican, I'm Haitian. Again, the only difference between us is where we got dropped off at on the boat.
Correct.
At the end of the day.
I've been trying to tell people that.
But the most interesting part is I was born in Haiti, and my father was best friends with the former president. And when the United States government, which we both work for, overthrew the government in Haiti, My father was exiled and was almost killed, and we had to leave. So literally left with the shirts on our back, came into the United States, and crazy enough, my dad bought a yellow cab, and he was a yellow cab driver. Came with 4 kids and like $800 in his pocket, and that was it. And made a life for us in Harlem, New York, on the west side of Harlem, and right next to Columbia University. So I had the it was like one. So I was on 123rd, and between Broadway and Amsterdam, and it was an interesting piece because it's on a hill. So I got the luxury of Harlem, or what the gentrified side would be now, pre-gentrification. But I could look at the what people would call the hood version of Harlem. I could look at it from my hill, so I got both sides, an education from both sides. So I got the street knowledge or the block knowledge from the older guys, like toughen you up, and then I got the Columbia University education side during the daytime. So I look at that and I'm like, when I'm able to sit back now, I'm like, wow, I got 2 educations, one from the Ivy and one from the streets. The one from the streets taught me more than the Ivy, because the one from the Ivy learned from the street.
Yes, sir.
If you think about it.
Yes, sir.
So being able to parlay that effectively, and again, I still don't think I have it down pat. Maybe when I'm my brother's age, I will. But being able to see that and understand it at a young age really, really helped me. When I look at it afterwards, we moved to the suburbs in Long Island. As I was telling you guys, went to a great school out in the suburbs. It was weird because I came from Harlem, where everybody looks like us. When you want to see or go somewhere where people don't look like you go downtown and stuff like that, but you could always go back.
Correct.
When I'm in Long Island at the time, before Long Island became gentrified, the other way around with black people, everybody was white. I couldn't go anywhere that people weren't white. So that was weird, and like you start to have your social cliques where everybody looks like you. So that portion of it taught me a lot. I was playing football, and I decided, you know what, I don't think I really want to play football in college. I know that. And then 9/11 happened, and when 9/11 happened, again, like every guy our age at that time, we're like, give me my rifle, like I'm going into the military. I was a defensive end, and I was probably like 320 pounds maybe.
Wow.
And I was fast though. So I had like scholarships and stuff like that, but I was like, 320 in the military is not going to do good. So in about 8 months, I dropped about 100 pounds. It dropped all my weight, joined the military, and started going on that career path. Deployed, and I was a part of big military at the time. Deployed with big military, and then I was just like, this is dumb. This is dumb. Like, lost a couple of friends to stupidity. Of just literally just doing tactically, like, and again, Mark, you can understand fully, like just doing tactical responses to incidents that cost people their lives. I have 2 friends who actually died because they were hit by an IED because they were transporting chairs for a ceremony. I got another guy who got shot in the head. And when you look at that, you start to sit back and analyze. First, war is stupid on every level. At the end of the day. So I don't agree with it there. But still at the time, again, this is my position now. At the time, I didn't think like that. I was like, you know what? I was a part of a command element because, again, it's not that I was smarter, but I didn't think like the average person. So they put me in a command element. So I got to do some really interesting things. I was attached to 7th Group, Army Special Forces, and I did a couple of things with them. Nothing on the dynamic entry side where we're actually running missions, but on their ops side. So that was really cool to be able to see that world, and it gave me the bug. And I decided, you know what, because there was a combat controller attached to the team, and I was like, I'm gonna go do that. So did that, part of the 125th STS out in Portland, Oregon. Went to the combat control school, went through the pipeline, and as I was telling you, at that point in time, I had a change in philosophy. I read a pivotal book that probably completely changed everything. It's by Noam Chomsky, called Manufacturing Consent. And when I took that, and then I started to read up on like journalists like Chris Hedges, and I started to piece things together at that point in time. And just to show you how everything is interconnected, my former commander was a former Green Beret, and we're sitting down in our tent, and we're talking, and he's telling me about the missions that he ran. His team was the team responsible for entry and insertion into Haiti, that were controlling the militias that overthrew the government, that were responsible for rolling up all of the key government officials. So very much that could have been the guy breaking down my door at the time. So it's amazing how, again, everything is interconnected. Nothing is ever coincidence or by chance. It happens for a reason. So when I decided to have that change of heart and I left Pipeline, again, I was a stud, great shape, like amazing shape. The mentality that I got from it is what stayed with me more so than anything. And I parlayed that mentality into all of my experiences into business. And it's where I'm at today. And I think we're doing pretty good. So I'm knocking on wood for that. But
not wood, though.
Yeah. In that case, but the most interesting part of it was just like my experiences from the military and previous being taken into business. I didn't know what I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Every single bit of it I learned from making mistakes. So that's why I always tell people, whatever mistakes you make, exactly, you got two choices. You got your ass and your feet. You're always going to be on one of them. Where you choose to stay matters. So just stay on your feet.
Correct.
So even if you get put on your ass, get back on your feet. So literally every time I get knocked down, it sucks at first, but I'm always like, this is good pain because I'm learning from it. So I seldomly make the same mistake twice, but I learn from it even if I do. So I'm always happy about that. Like when people call me about like, hey JP, you know, I messed this up, I did this, I did that. I'm like, you gonna do it again? And they're like, no. And I'm like, good, you learned. It's not a bad thing. You didn't know what you didn't know until you made a mistake and figured it out. I was like, look at it as a good thing. You can't look in the rear view driving the car forward. Like there's a reason for that. The window's bigger. So you guys got to understand that. So everything that I've learned, I teach from a mistake standpoint. So I tell people, listen, this is what I did. This is how hot the stove was. If you can handle that heat, go ahead and get burned. But if you don't want to get burned, don't do this. So that's where we're at today. Did a couple of things in between those, but without being laborious, I'll let you guys.
We love the stories. People, every time our artists, we call them travelers because everybody's on a journey. Our travelers always talk about the person's story, so we don't really worry about because you're automatically gonna let us know what's going on in your life. Now, leaving the military, right? Leaving the military is a scary, and I want you to talk about that because just leaving the military is a scary feeling because you're at a place where, you know, the government could shut down in terms of, they didn't fund the government and everything, you know, 1st of the 15th is gonna get paid, or Navy Fed will say, hey, or whatever banking institution you get your allotment through will say, we'll pay you in advance even if the check don't clear from the government because they know it's going to clear. They know it's coming. Explain to us that kind of dynamics coming out. How did you feel? Navigate. You're from New York, Haiti, but from New York. What's that feeling like?
So I'll say two things. I'll talk about it at the time and where I'm at now.
Okay.
At the time, I heard all of these senior enlisted people. Officers tell me, don't do it. Why don't you go be an officer? Why don't you do that? You'd be great. And I was like, no. At the time, I didn't realize what I was saying, why I was saying it really. I just knew I didn't want to stay in anymore.
Okay.
And the dangerous part in the military, I think, is this. They tell you that you are such an asset and that employers would kill to have you on the outside. And I think that it's one of the most biggest disservices that we do to our military members.
Correct.
Because you are not viewed as an asset. And just intuitively, I think that those people who are military members, you need to ask yourself, if you are such an asset, why are they paying you the rate that they're paying you as an asset? It doesn't make sense. If you are such a large asset, then you should be paid your worth. I think that now when I look at it, it is one of the most dangerous things to do is to stay in a situation like the military. From an economic standpoint, if your goal is to grow your economic base, this isn't an attack on whether or not you want to serve your country or not. I think people like to hide behind that. I like to dig deeper and look at it from the standpoint of, yes, you are serving your country. Yes, you're doing a noble cause. Great. However, when you get out, you no longer have that base. What are you going to do? Like in any war planning effort, it starts with the plan.
Correct.
You need to have that said plan. Because if you don't have those certifications, if you are an aircraft engineer, guess what? You're most likely going to go to work for Boeing. So you need to start lining that up and understand what that's going to look like. I think that the danger of staying in and understanding that you're in this comfortable position is not understanding and realizing, especially from the enlisted side, that if you stay in for a straight 20, you will not have the economic base that you think that you're supposed to be able to survive on the same standard of living that you currently have in the military. It's just not going to happen. Right now, military members are earning almost 7% less because inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation is, in actuality, upwards of 7 to 9% depending on where you live. So you got maybe a 2% pay raise. If that every year, the 1.5, 2%, it's not keeping pace. So how are you going to support yourself? It's going to be a problem. So I think that it's a drug that keeps people hooked, and it's dangerous at the end of the day. So I always tell people when they're getting out, I have plenty of members that are getting out now that I know, plenty of friends, and they call me up, what do you think? What should I do? And I'm like, don't listen to that bullshit, follow your passion. It's like, don't do that. I was like, you better have a plan. Have a plan, whatever you think that you'll be good at. You need to start contacting hiring managers starting now. You get out in 3 years, guess what? Start contacting them now. Build a rapport. Build a rapport. I said, in anything that I've learned, it is not about what you know.
It's who you know. You're 100%
Your
right.
network defines your network.
NFL is proving that right now.
It's all about who you know. Like, and it's crazy because a lot of people like to, and again, considering who's at the table right now, it's us. Like, I think a lot of people in our culture, we like to hide behind the fact of, oh, it's race. Yes, that is a component of it, and it is very much a large. However, I can tell you right now, the majority of the time, it is not based on race. It is based off comfort and what people know. That business owner will pick somebody that they are comfortable with. They don't care if you call yourself Albert Einstein.
Correct.
They will pick the person that they are comfortable with more so than anything, because they rather make a mistake in comfort than a mistaken error in judgment. So,
yes, sir.
Again, danger in both, but it's just what they rather do.
Correct. And now that you brought us down that path, I'm very, I always tell, even with this NFL thing that's happening now, right? I tell people, would you build $1 million company and then just say, oh man, this kid across the street don't have this opportunity, so let me just take this company and give it to him.
They'll never do. It'll never.
You would never do that.
No one would do that.
So
no one would do that.
It's a catch-22.
Correct.
I think that I can empathize with it because I've been in that guy's position.
Correct.
We've probably all been in that guy's position. I know it flat out. I've been in that position. I've seen it happening in real time. The hardest part is trying to convince that person. It's all purely emotional. It is, yes, it's numerically driven because if you execute, this is what the reward will be. But the decision at the end of the day is all emotional. People ask me about raising money. What should I do? Here's my projection. Your projection doesn't matter. Investor's going to invest in you because it's an emotional decision.
Correct.
Period. The end. Period. The end. Like TikTok brought me to Google Ventures. Google Ventures reached out to me, purely emotional.
Yes.
Because the person that was at Google Ventures had an emotional trigger to my videos.
Correct.
And said, I'm going to, it had nothing to do with data, nothing to do with analytics. My company could be selling maybe $3 per month. It's purely emotional for the reason why she contacted me. So I tell people all the time, resonate with people on a personal level, and they'll bring you to the financial level that you want to be at.
Yes, sir.
And we'll just go from there.
And I know a lot of what happens is in our community, they hear what you just said and they don't hear what you said previously. Yes, there is a racial thing
component.
there.
Yeah.
However, now listen back to what you said at the end of it. Yeah.
Like I tried to on one. Speaking of that, and I'm hoping I could clarify it on some of my videos.
Yeah.
One of my videos that I put, because like I said, I don't like to just look at the problem. I like to look at what causes the problem, right?
Yeah.
So in one of my videos, I was like, you know what? You know who could help in our case in relating to us? White women. Yes, white women are biggest benefactors of things like affirmative action.
Yeah.
But if you understand the case, you need it's like war. And this is a war.
Yeah.
You need bodies.
Yeah.
Whether it be for cannon fodder, but you need bodies. You need to get people on your side
Yeah.
to see that. So I tried to say, you know what, white women could be one of our biggest allies if we got to corral around them or corral them around us to be able to say, hey, you need to start to plead our case to your man.
Yeah.
Your white man who runs the company, when you're in bed, guess what? History has proved women can either start wars or end them.
Yeah.
Period, the end.
It's man.
And people were like, oh, white women, what about black women? And I'm like, you guys just didn't listen to anything I just said. And I'm like, no, yes, I understand black women have it the worst. I'm not talking about that. It's 1 second, not about that.
But from someone that has access.
Yeah, to be able to take,
Yeah.
exactly, it's the access point. Because you can have the toolkit to solve the solution all you want, to solve the problem all you want. But if you don't have the application for the solution, guess what? You need to find that application, and that application just might be that white woman that you need to get her inside the most intimate settings to change a behavior.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a behavior that needs to be changed more so than anything.
Yeah, that's a funny area too, man. I spent a lot of time in that space, and there's so many loopholes, even in that aspect of it. Because then it was like, okay, well, if it's going to benefit me. Then of course I'll make you a spokesperson as my wife, because I know the dollars are gonna get generated through you doing your thing. I'm gonna go right to our same bank account.
And that's the other portion of it.
Yeah,
Nepotism.
correct.
But here's the thing. We are all and would be all guilty of it if we had the opportunity.
If we had, come on,
Correct.
man.
And this is the portion that I try to get across to people. And even in my own situation, I looked at it and I said, yo, this guy's his money.
Correct.
Why am I going to give?
If he doesn't want to give it to me, he doesn't. Like right now in my company, my brother-in-law is my attorney. He's the in-house counsel.
Yeah.
I work hand in hand with my brother. Guess what though? I have my cousin who's running a driver management service. So there is a level of nepotism.
Correct.
The problem occurs when you let that nepotism interfere with the operations of the company. If you're a hedge fund, if you're a venture capital and your stated goal is to invest in companies that do X, if the numbers prove it, and my numbers have proved it, why aren't you investing? And I've been told flat out, well, the reason is because you're a black guy and they don't want to invest in black guys. But
You're telling that story. I want you to tell that story when you had that friend. That when if they didn't catch it on TikTok already, I'd definitely like to.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
So we went, I'll never forget it. It was on 42nd Street, Grand Central Station, right above in those buildings. It was a real estate investor. Guy has a bunch of hotels around the city, multi-millionaire. And we go in, we pitch, and he's sitting at the head of the table. I'm doing my thing, pitching, and he starts to fall asleep midpoint. And I'm just like,
That's when
all
you
right.
top the brick on it.
So thanks a lot. I appreciate meeting. I cut it short because I'm not going to waste his time or mine.
Yeah.
And we leave and stuff like that. And the guy who was responsible for setting up the meeting, he comes to me and he's like, "Give me a second, I'm going to go talk." And I guess he went to go talk to the guy, and then he comes back with beet red face and stuff like that. And we take the elevator. And we took the elevator down, and while we're in the elevator, he's like, I'm like, "Dom, you all right?" And he's like, you. We'll talk about it in a second. So we get outside. He's like, I just told me, I don't know why you brought those black guys to me. I don't invest with black people. I don't invest with black people. There's that. I was also told, I'll never forget this, and I don't mind saying his name too, because in my opinion, racists should be called out. It's like me saying, if I know that there's a couple of guys around the corner ready to whip your ass, and you're down the block, I'm rather, hey, be careful down that block. You might want to go down this way. Len Blavanik, who's the owner of Warner Music Group, literally was an investor for a company called Get. We went to his offices that are coincidentally in Times Square, and we're meeting, and the CEO was there and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of other people in the room. He's like, me and my brother, he's like, what are these black guys going to do that my Harvard grads can't? All the Harvard grads are white.
Yeah.
They're all white in there. And I'm like, all right, my brother's way more reserved than me. Me and him are yin and yang. You and I would probably relate more on personality-wise. Because in my head, I'm like, you. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what billions you have. Like, that's number one. But number two, I'm here because you asked me to be here. I'm not here because I'm looking for a job, because I was running my company out in Queens. Like, we were making great money. We definitely didn't need you guys. And I'm like, well, you guys were forecasted to spend $3 million this month. You were burning through $3 million in cash, and your return for it is negative. I said, still, don't spend your $3 million. You forecasted to spend it. Don't. At that time, it was like October. So 3-month burn, you're looking at well over $18 million, close to $18 million in total scope that they would have spent. Don't spend it. Don't. We'll grow your company. By December, we started to grow by over probably 150% by December. Within 1 year's time, we grew by over 1,100% with no money. No money.
Wow.
We did more with less consistently. They went from 7 people in the office, 5 or 7 people in the office, to over 120 staff members in New York alone. We got them to number 1 in the UK. We got them to number 1 in Russia. They were already number 1 in Israel. We took over 15% market share from Uber's market, which is the biggest market in the world, which is New York. So,
wow, 15%.
What your Harvard grads couldn't do, we did with less money or no money at that. And we grew the company. And again, in his world, like, he's used to yes men. I'm not a yes man. Like, I'd rather tell you the uncomfortable truth, and we can deal with that, versus the lie, and you'll never forgive me. So we didn't overstate what we were going to do. We just said, listen, we're going to work hard and do what we got to do, and let our results show the rest. So I got the best experience of my life during those 2 years. Those 2 years foundationally were probably, it was like a high and a low. Because it was the most money that I've ever made in my life. Like, even now, it pales in comparison. But it's also, I have to give the pro and the con. So on an average week, I was bringing in maybe 50 to 80,000 a week, right? So again, first time seeing $1 million in my bank account, I was just like, that was crazy. But don't worry, for the viewers, it's coming. Like, I was like, this is the greatest thing in my life. Like, wow, like, I was living the life. I'm in New York City, Riverside Drive, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Like, it was just, your viewers, they'll understand. The journey that I was on, it was the greatest journey I've ever been on in my life. And then, the tax man came. And he was like, you've been having a lot of fun. He came and he took a chunk out of my ass that I could never forget in my life. So when you hear people talking about, like, and again, from a political standpoint, when you hear people talking about, like, I understand why people are Republicans. A lot of them are Republicans for economic reasons.
I know.
I get it. Because when you have something like that happen to you, and you literally go from 7 figures in your bank account to a negative ratio, you will cry harder than I did. Because I was like, it was the worst experience of my life. And ever since that day, financially, I'm a Republican. Like socially, I'm liberal. Like I could care less what you do, what you believe in. Like go do whatever you want. But financially, like you have no idea. You have no like. It's like what? And then when you see your tax dollars being squandered, you're like, no, absolutely not. So I always tell people pay your taxes more so than anything. Like the money that's coming in, if it's a calendar year of 2020. The money that you made in 2020 is not yours. You can't touch it until 2021. Mid 2021 is when you can comfortably say, let me try to touch it. That's just to be on the safe side if you don't want to get deep down into analytics. But it is the most painful thing that you will ever go through when you have to pay those taxes. And it was just the worst. But I learned from it so much. I learned ways
Pay your
how
taxes.
Pay your taxes, but more so importantly, how to defer your taxes, how to divert the money, how to structure a company properly. Like that was one of the biggest things that I learned. And like with that, I think we can stop if you need.
No, okay, you good.
So with that, I think that was one of my biggest life lessons is how to set up a company properly, how to structure and funnel money to shell companies legally, of course. And this is the crazy part. It's all written in the tax code. The secret sauce.
No, you don't read.
You don't know what you don't know, but it's literally in the tax code. Literally, it tells you how to legally not pay taxes, and it's literally there. And my attorney that I had to hire, who's still my attorney till today, like my attorney was like, yeah, like my job is just literally telling people what's in the book, reading to them, and then setting it up. And he's like, that's why you pay me thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I'll continue to do that. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. But it was the most interesting thing when to be able to see that and experience it, and it hurt. And it hurts till today. It hurts till today. But you recover and you understand, like I said before, your ass or your feet. So I'm back on my feet. I went through a year and a half of pain, man. Pain. Because you think that the gravy train is going to keep running until the gravy runs out and the train breaks down. And it's hard.
How did you go through the whole rebounding process of that, man? See, we'll take a quick pause here because travelers, I want you guys to. I love how JP is setting up the story for us because he's showing how, his origins, where he came from, what he saw, what he experienced, what he grew up in, the opportunities that he took, even in the military, and just the whole structural, the mindset, the mental toughness that we like to talk about, that was kind of ingrained in him through just life experiences and going through the military, all that kind of stuff. And then going through something like this now, dude, some people, that's it for them. Something like that, that's like, oh man, I'm done. Where's the nearest building I can leap from, and unfortunately, that's how a lot of people would take it. Like, how did you rebound mentally from something like that to say, hey, let's pick up and I'm on my feet, let me keep going?
Rebounding is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. I would say I'm still rebounding now. I still have PTSD of sorts from that process. And that's not to marginalize anybody with that, but it's to give you an example of what it's like. Every day is hard. The next day is going to be harder. The only thing I could think about was training. It's the only thing I could think about. Is I'll never forget, we had evolutions that we had to do. And we had to pick up, it's like a 5,000-pound telephone pole, and we had to carry it across base. And the pain that's on your shoulders, and it just weighs you down, and it's step by step, but you have to understand it's step by step.
Yes, sir.
And as long as you keep moving, you're going to drop the pole. You're going to have to pick it back up. The day's going to be bad. You're going to have to pick it back up. It's going to be worse than it was yesterday, but it will get better. I think that what people don't understand is, and I've lost friends to suicide, and I've always wondered how and why they did it. And all I could think about was their moms, who their number one question is why. And I said to myself, I understand why somebody would do this. I'm not going to do it,
Yeah.
but I understand. You understand
yeah.
fully and totally. And I think the biggest thing that the military taught me, and it's actually one of our mottos, shoot, move, communicate, right? So I knew I had to figure out, one, where the target was that I was going to shoot. I definitely need to figure out where I'm going to move to, because I can't stay here anymore. And I know I need to communicate in some way, shape, or form what's going on and how to figure out how to stop whatever's happening. So I think the biggest point of Rebound for me was being in the pain cave, that I call it. Like, you go and you hit rock bottom, and then you figure out rock bottom has a basement. And you're like, ooh, this is weird.
Wow, rock bottom
but
Had the basement.
but you go through it.
That's gonna be rock bottom. I like that.
Yeah, like you go, when I'm going through it, like one day feels like 1 month. But only thing I could say is it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And when you start to see 24 hours pass by, you wake up and you're like, I'm still here. And there's a reason for that. And it's something that should tell you intuitively, keep going. And even if you move 1 degree per day,
still keep moving.
After 30 days, that's 30-degree difference. You're no longer in the same trajectory. And I tell people in relation to business plans too, write one thing every day. And in 30 days, you have 30 things for the business. Start to write one thing about those each points every day. And in 60 days, you have a business plan. And if you think about it, doing nothing, time is still constant.
Correct.
It's not stopping.
Not stopping.
So you might as well do it, even if you're wrong, do it anyway.
Correct.
And in 30 to 60 days, you got a full plan that you could operate from. You got a platform. And I just looked at it from my situation. Every day I did one little thing. I didn't focus on getting decision fatigue. I just did one little thing every day. I did one financial projection, one line in the projection. I did one thing on the presentation, and that was it. And I focused on my son, and that was my biggest motivator. I was just like, I have to make sure that he does not go through what I went through. It's the number one thing. Like, I think that this is also a portion of the military where you learn that you sacrifice yourself for your team. And it's one of the most noblest things. I will sacrifice myself any day of the week and twice on Sunday for my son. And I refuse to have him go through what I went through. Number one thing, my family, everything. Like, my dad and my mom, they work way too hard. You know, Caribbean families.
3 jobs.
I'm not. They work too hard. I will not.
As long as there's time in a day,
I will not do it. Like, I was talking to my brother, because right now I feel like I'm a firm believer the universe never gives you everything at once. It always takes something away, and I'm racing the clock. My dad is 85 years old, and I'm like, and again, he saw his son successful, but he didn't really see his son successful because, like, he couldn't see when I was partying. He didn't see all of that. I was paying his mortgage and stuff. That's all he saw. But at his age, like, now with my condition, like, I want to be able to say, and I told my brother, we're gonna buy him a retirement home that he's always wanted in Dominican Republic, Haiti, whatever it is. We're gonna buy. I don't care if it's a condo. We have to do that before he goes. So that's the big goal. Little goal for right now. We've never taken a vacation with our dad. Simple little things. So rather than focus on this big thing, let's get that little thing first, and then we'll go with the 1 degree at a time. When you try to, only one way to eat the elephant, one bite at a time. So it's very much, hey, let's focus on just getting that vacation in. So hopefully in the next 2-3 months, we're gonna go on a vacation for the first time with our dad. And again, never been on a vacation with him ever. Ever. It's always with our mom and stuff like that. So it was definitely about making sure that we do those little things. That way, you know, because time is constant, and when Maker calls, he's gonna call.
Correct.
And he's never on your time.
Correct.
Or when you pick. So we're racing against the clock. So that's why I work as much as I do. Like, I don't have to. Everybody who calls me, like even today, I'm supposed to go have dinner with a friend. He was supposed to meet up with him early. I don't have time. Time is my most precious commodity that I have because I know I'm racing against the clock.
Yeah, we appreciate you giving us some of your time.
And I got to clarify. You can't say nothing yet. Hold up. I got to clarify one thing. Right. So that 5-ton pole.
Yeah.
You had to lift it on your own?
No, hell no.
It was your whole platoon.
Yeah,
right?
whole team.
Okay,
A whole team of guys. It was at the time. It was like probably like 15, 20 guys maybe.
Okay.
And you got to lift all of that, so it ends up the weight ends up getting distributed. But when you got short guys,
Yeah,
you got really tall guys.
That's exactly
It's,
it.
Everyone,
it's just pain, and you learn how to function with that.
Yeah, so so he knows me too well, right? So I'm glad you gave me that clarification on the facts of that.
Yeah.
You did this too in the Marine?
Yeah.
The Marine, you guys did that too?
Yeah, we did that too.
Because every time we're going somewhere, I'm grabbing all the bags. you saw me setting up and everything, right? Bringing everything. Wait a minute.
I'm trying to distribute the weight. Distribute the weight.
Distribute the weight evenly. That's right. But it was one of the most painful lessons. But it was even now, like it was pure stupidity because even now I still have pain. But it was one of those life lessons that you carry over because there's processes in business that are going to be immensely painful. And no matter what you say or do, you have to carry that pain in order to get to the goal. You cannot drop that pain because part of the process is in the pain. You cannot escape it. If you cut corners, the corners will cut you.
Period. And the thing, even with that, I can just imagine, it's harder to drop it and then have to pick it back up.
Correct.
100%.
Correct. It's just like running. If you stop, you lose all that time.
Just you lose momentum, lactic acid builds up. It's harder to move. Just keep going. The pain of right now is worse if you stop or quit.
Yeah.
So that's the number one thing. I don't want to stop and I don't want to quit. So you got two choices. It's gonna be painful no matter what.
Correct.
Pain and reward of success, or pain of regret with no reward. You already in hell. Keep going. Don't stop here. Just keep going. Wow. So it's one of those life lessons that you learn and you apply and carry over. At the time, you'll never think that you're going to learn anything from it, but that's not the goal. The goal is to teach you for later, and it prepares you to deal with the pain of what you're going to have to go through. And I'm a firm believer that when you go into the gym, everybody has worked out at some point in time. You don't walk into a situation where you're just going to come in and lift 1,000 pounds. You had to work up to it. You just do. And when you look at it from when you started, from where you're at, you're like, man, I remember when I started, I couldn't even do 15 push-ups. And now I'm here banging out 50 a set. So you start to see that, and you're like, it's very much the same thing in business. Something comes up. Business is about solving problems. Something comes up. I remember a problem like this.
Boom.
Solution. Solution right away. It's solved. Like, and even now, staff is like, how do you know all of this? I was like, child, I don't know, but I know I made so many mistakes that I know that this. I'm freestyling a little bit. We're all about to learn one way or another. So I'm just glad that we're learning together. And that's the best part is that I think when you're functioning in a team, and you know this specifically, it's a situation, and you just look and you see your friend laughing and you laugh too, and you're just like, we got this, man.
We got this.
And you just continue.
You're in the field, it's cold like this. It's outside right now.
You looking.
And then,
that's why you were fine out there.
This ain't nothing.
You know what's funny? You were waiting, and he was like,
you mind 68 field liner.
I wasn't even thinking about it. He was like, yo, we gotta go. I was like, oh no. But it's true, man. You're in the field with your friend, and all of a sudden, we said God must have been a Marine, because all of a sudden you're in the field and it's cold. It starts to rain. It hadn't rained in Southern California in like how long? And all of a sudden it starts to rain. And you're like this, what in the world? And you, like you said, you look over and you laugh and you say, hey, we just gotta do it. It is what it is. Another thing I wanna, people always talk about luck, right? Now, from your story, you've been in the rooms with some very important people. Mm-hmm. But I wanna know, how did you had to communicate, how do you finesse that to get in the room with these, and you're still getting in the room with important people? How do you do that?
So, first of all, there's no such thing as luck. It's just, it's the work that you put in creates the opportunity. The problem that occurs is that people don't correlate is the work that you put in today, it's a seed. You plant the seed today, you don't get the fruit tomorrow.
Correct.
So what you did today, it's about the time space continuum.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time,
It's gonna-
what you did will come back to you. So the work that my dad did, he came from a yellow cab driver owning his own medallion.
Which
It
is crazy.
Brought me into a room with the Lafrax, who own Lafrax City in the HBO. They own a portion of that. Columbia University is the #1 benefactor to it. Brought me into a room with them. So when you're able to look at the work that other people did, when you're able to look at the work that you did and how it brings you to the point, like, it's not luck. I work 7 days a week. I fail to see where luck is. I work literally 7 days a week. Single dad, like every day, grinding it out. Ain't no luck here. There's no such thing as luck. I'm just praying and hoping. And there's a portion of it, unfortunately, you're going to dig for gold, but not be the one to be able to find it. And unfortunately, you got to understand that there's a portion of it that's going to be self-sacrifice. I'm not going to benefit from everything that I do, but my son will. And I gotta be in it for that. It's not going to be sometimes, and I think that's one of our biggest downfalls. And I think that's also, I know that's why. Also, when you look at it from a geopolitical standpoint, that's why China has been able to eclipse us, and they will eclipse us militarily, economically, and socially. China, the current Chinese, they do not do things for themselves. They do things for the next generation.
Sometimes even the next.
We are more concerned, and even in our own community, we are more concerned about being able to have some kind of special status or attainment for ourselves than for the next man or the next person or our family member down the road. And I think that's one of our biggest, that's the biggest barrier that we face.
I'm with you on that one. I'm so much. It's funny, you know, and we're in Black History Month and all the kind of stuff, but what have, and I don't want to, these guys are going to kill me sometimes when you say this stuff in your communities, like,
No.
right? Since Martin Luther King, all that kind of stuff, what have we done that's so dynamic that what these guys did in terms of civil rights, instead of all these different things that these guys did? What kind of trajectory have we placed ourselves from that time till now, from the 60s till now? What have we done to say, and don't tell me I bought a Bentley or we have millionaires. You know what I'm saying? What have we done to say, okay, we're solidifying another rung, or we're able to get into certain kind of rooms? We're still talking about LL Cool J was getting a bad record deal, and we're still getting bad record deals
today.
in 2022.
Yeah, like even, and again, having the main investor who's in the music industry, who owns essentially the music industry, it's an almost $90 billion industry, and the artist only earns less than 10%. So who's getting the rest of those billions?
Correct.
Is what needs to be asked. But we also got to understand that from that standpoint of who's getting the billions, we shouldn't really be concerned with that.
No.
Because the billions that they're getting are being generated by us. We are the number one culture.
We are the number one consumers. Yes.
It's not just consumers, but we're the number one consumers and culture drivers.
Yes.
If you look at if you just look at a general interview base in media, from whether it be fashion, entertainment, art, music, sports, it's us.
Yeah.
It's literally us. So when I walk into a business situation, I'm saying to myself, wait a second, something's not right here. If we drive all of those dollars at that level, right? And we are bar none, that's not my opinion, it is a fact. We are bar none the best at these things. Why aren't we good at this too? And if we, this being business operation structure, and just to give you a time frame, and this isn't me specifically, I want to be clear. I can guarantee you, pick 10 people, out of those 10, 2 of them can do everything that I just did and probably better, most likely better. The other 5 could do it at my level. The other ones will probably do it at a lower level, but get close. Right? When I walked in, I decided, and just to give you guys an idea, from a time frame perspective, I took a company that wasn't mine, grew it by over 1,100%. Not just me, it was me and my brother.
Yeah.
We grew it by over 1,100%, scaled it at a global level. My son was born, went through what I went through, depression, massive situations with taxes, blah, blah, blah. In May of last year, May of last year, I had a friend come from California. She stayed with me, and we were just talking, and I was like, you know what? I think it's because I was going through an moment. I was on my the entire time. I was like, all right, that's it. Let me get on my feet. Time to get up. I need to start making money again like I was making. And I told her, 6 months I'm going to be back to, if not where I was, but close to it. And literally started sketching everything out. Did a business design, or a business plan, I should say, for what I wanted to do. My brother was, again, another one, no quit in him. He was still maintaining business operations. The company was probably bringing in maybe $250 a year, if that much. Again, nothing. And 250,000.
Okay. Make sure.
And
people know. I've been at some tables, dude. Like,
no. Sorry.
And then like, okay, so I gotta make sure.
So it was bringing in about 250,000.
Yes.
And when I told her this, I was like, I'm gonna go do X, Y, and Z. And I'm the type of person, when I make that decision, all my friends know me. If I go silent, it's because I'm working. Like, I won't excommunicate everybody. I won't talk to anybody except for very key specific people that are responsible for doing what I need them to do in order to execute. No social media, no nothing. And in 2.5 months, I said, okay, I got the plan. I know what I'm going to do. And literally, what people need to understand is the reason why the plan is so important. The idea doesn't mean shit. The idea needs to be on the plan because you need to follow the map. It's like a GPS. Literally executed my plan, and in 2.5 months, we got this $126 million contract. And I was like, okay, but it sounds great, but it's risk. $126 million contract, you can't execute it, it goes away, you're back to where you started. So
that's what people are not looking at.
Yeah, the number one thing that I did was say, okay, I can celebrate this. I'm not. I said, okay, next. Started creating silos for other smaller contracts. And in about 5 months now, and now we're looking at December timeframe, I said, okay, COVID is happening. Okay, we need to parlay this in some way, shape, or form. So took the 126 million, flipped it to this contract that we have here, which is right around 8.5, 9 million, and total scope of the contract though was 100 million. So now I'm going to defer the 8 million that I know I have, and now I'm going to distribute it, and now I'm going to pull away from that $100 million pot. We have another contract that's 80 million that we're about to get with the city again. We have another $3 million contract that we just got, and started to piece everything. It's literally Voltron for those that our age group. We're assembling Voltron.
Yes.
So at the end of it now, which we're coming into the end. Literally, right before you guys came, I had a meeting. We are actually launching, starting in March. We'll be in Boston, LA, Chicago, and I believe, if it works out, Miami also. So that's the head of the piece. Voltron is starting to assemble. Now it's a matter of, okay, we have this space. We're created the opportunity for ourselves to launch. How do we take that opportunity and expand it? The number one group of travelers in the United States, the number one region of travel is the Northeastern Corridor, bar and large. The top travelers, also from a data standpoint, I'm a data guy. People that look like us. We give billions and billions of dollars to Uber. The reason why we give billions and billions of dollars to Uber and transportation companies is because Black people are, unfortunately, the number one labor force or low-skilled labor force in the country. Low-skilled labor, by and large, must travel far distances to work. So on average, their travel time is anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, to the extremes of 2 hours, okay? When you look at that travel time, how are they traveling? Bus, train, and car, okay? So I'm gonna fill the car piece of it. So why wouldn't a company like mine, which charges less and pays the driver more, who is also minority, why wouldn't they want to use our service? These are the questions that we need to solve. So we know that we have the solution for it. We know that we've applied it. And we know that the people that are knocking at our door now know that we have the solution for it. The question is, will they let us build it before they buy us out? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't need my name on the building. I don't want it. Quiet professional.
Correct.
I'll take the money and leave. And go on vacation with my dad, like I told you. So the fact that Google Ventures is knocking at our door, again, we don't know what's going to happen with it. Hopefully, it's something great. But I'm going to speak it into existence. I know that we are a direct threat to the current business model of ride hail. Ride hail is predicated on getting the driver to earn less to the point where he is no longer in the vehicle, which is why you have autonomous vehicles. Well, if I come in and I throw in a model where the driver earns more, passenger pays less, well, that's going to throw a chink in your armor. So if you're somebody like Uber, get these guys out of here by either crushing them or buying them.
Correct. Acquisition, that's how it
And
works.
they just rather make an acquisition at that point in time. So we're hoping that that's what we're able to do, but for the time being, we just build brick by brick, stone by stone, until we get the castle that we want. And it's been working so far. It's been painful, but it's working. And that's the goal. And I thank God for this. When you've had money, it doesn't phase you no more. Because I've been rich and I've been broke. Been rich and broke. So I know I have money, but I haven't taken one single distribution whatsoever. I'm not touching it. Because it's the comfort that we were talking about in the military. The military creates a comfort level. I don't want zero comfort. I got a 2-bedroom apartment that's in Calorama. I live there with my son. Great area. Love it. I don't need more than what I need. And I don't want to experience more than what I need, because I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And it's going to be a weakness for me. It's going to be a weakness for me.
That's a good leadership trait. Know yourself and seek self-improvement.
I refuse to do it. So I refuse to reward myself. I refuse to look back and say, wow, you've really done a lot. No, I just keep looking forward. Keep looking forward, and don't focus on the little things, and just literally, I know what my end point is. The end point is acquisition. Once that happens and we got a number that's good enough, walk away. Just like that. And I'll never want to work again. Like, literally, I'm not going to do shit. I'm going to wake up and do nothing. Literally. Because when you think about it, and this is for the people that are thinking about the entrepreneurial space, I like to tell people this. You got 2 choices of pain. It's going to be pain regardless.
Correct.
The only difference between me and you is I chose to take the pain up front. Other people choose to take the pain
On the back end.
20 years, 30 years, working a job that they hate and hate going to, and then you get a cold wash and a piece of environment with 4 stale cupcakes. I just chose to. It's the same pain. I want to be clear. I just chose to take it all at once. And that's it. No different. No different from them. Not better than them. Not worse than them. I just chose something different. And I'll tell people all the time, this shit will make you crazy. It will send you to depression.
Trust me.
It will you will find out a lot about yourself. Boy, I tell people all the time, if this is not something that you're prepared to do, because I got a friend of mine who called me, he was like, listen, I hate my job, I want to leave, and I want to do something different. I was like, listen, man, I'm never going to give you advice for you, I'm going to give you advice for your family, because they're your priority. Because I know that's what makes you happy. So, because if I give you advice for you, you're going to want to lay in bed with and have turkey sandwiches all day. And I was like, you can't do that. So I told him, I was like, whatever you do, understand that time is not waiting, so you might as well execute.
Yeah.
What he's doing right now, he's going to go buy a Tesla, put it on the road. He knows that he has me.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him business for the Tesla. He's hiring a guy to put him in the car.
Yeah.
He's going to give him $6,000 a month to drive that Tesla. He takes the rest of the money because he knows $150,000, same deal. And he's going to take the residual and keep building from there. So it's little things like that. And and I tell people, like, I don't have to do that for him. I'm doing it for him because one, he's my friend. Two, I know he's smart and he's looking for an opportunity. But three, doing it for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Personal reasons in this. It's risky to be by yourself. Humans are communal, whether we like it or not. If I fall, I need somebody to help me.
Correct.
So, like, I don't know one person that you know. I don't care what MU they're a part of, what expeditionary group. You cannot run a mission on your own.
Correct.
The 12-man ODA that's out there has a 50 person op set that's running, whether it be drones, tech, or whether it be logistics. They are there supporting.
Correct.
So you need a support team.
Right.
So you have to be able to put your people in a position where they can help you should you fall. So that's how I'm looking at it from those standpoints. How can I help my people? And at the same time, we all win. And and hopefully in May we'll find out because we're supposed to take a team vacation. So we'll see.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I want you to talk about that 150,000. I know. Running time, your time thing, but that 150,000, I want to, and then we'll wrap it up, Rick. So I'm once again, I'm I'm in my bed. Look like I don't want to say it, but you're always in my phone in my bed. I don't know what's going on. Right? And I see you say, "Hey, listen, I have an opportunity. If you, I need a driver in New York, and I'm willing to pay them 150,000." And when I heard you say that, I was like this.
Yeah.
Whoa, 150,000, right?
Yeah.
But then later on, I saw some of the comments in the thread. They said you were a slave driver, not enough money, you wanted to work too hard. I said, hold on. I started to do just like I'm a dad guy. I said, like 80% of Americans.
Or below that.
Or below that. Then in the top next 20.
80%.
But more than 80%. I'm talking. Now we're gonna break down that 20 where they get to the 1% where everybody want to be.
There's people in TikTok that followed that gave those comments, but the smart ones, they ask more questions.
Yeah.
More questions, not in the sense of hey, what's time off. More questions like I want to talk to you. I'm coming to your office now.
Yeah.
Hired people from TikTok to do it too. I got 2 guys from TikTok that are running the routes now. And the money's what I said it would be.
Yeah.
Literally to give the financial breakdown for people, the average route is anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 hours. 10 hours at max, depending on traffic. They're paid $410 per day, flat rate. Just finish the route. You drive the route, you're paid $410. If you work 7 days a week, times 52, if it goes on for the entire year, you will make $150,000 for even numbers' sake, right? 149 to be technically correct, right? You'll make that much money. That's $10,500 per month. I fail to understand.
How's that?
Sure, and it's not taxes taken out. And so if you route it under your corporation, you do it the right way, you will earn at least 80% of that money.
Correct.
So where are you working your dead-end job right now that you hate? Is that a bad deal?
Correct.
If somebody told me I had to do that 7 days a week, I would do it 7 days a week because I know the time value of money.
Correct.
I don't know what's happening next year. I just know what's happening now. So I need to take that money, and at a minimum, I could take 50% of that and put it towards a business that I want to build and grow.
Correct.
So why not do that? Take that sacrifice for a year.
Correct.
All right, you can't go out with your friends. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yep. Because next year's gonna come.
Hey,
You're gonna be in the same boat.
and again, I'm a dad, so I know if I had to make that decision, and I'm working in a situation that's financially stressing me for the last 5 years, and I could undergird my son into a better financial position to be able to give him opportunity. All right, I don't get to see him for 7-8 months the way that I want. I'm not telling you to work 24/7. You need a day off. Just let me know. Just give me advance notice. But it's 7 days a week. If you want to work 7 days a week, great. You want to work 5 days a week, great too. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You literally, as an independent contractor, have that
Say
schedule.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not even saying that person has to be in the car, because guess what happens? Say I want to take a month off, and I say, hey Rick, can you drive a month for me?
Basically, I don't care who's, as long as the job gets done. Like, listen, man, we can all cook.
Yeah.
I just want the end product to be edible.
Correct.
I don't care about the process.
Correct.
Whether it's wood fire, whether it's electric.
Correct.
As long as it's cooked. That's
Correct.
all that I care about. Like, people like to get process matters sometimes, but in this case, just get the job done. Because if I'm paying you $150, imagine what I'm billing, what I'm making off of it. So I have every incentive to make sure that it gets done. I'm not paying for the job to get done. I'm paying for the reliability and responsibility to get it done right.
Correct.
And it's an easy job. And I'm telling a group of guys who already do the job at a harder level, come do less, earn more.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. And I look at the social media culture, I think that people get caught up following the herd.
Yes.
That's one thing that's predictable about me.
Oh my goodness.
You want to know exactly what I'm going to do? Look to what everybody else is doing. If they're doing it, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. I'm not
going to do it.
Not,
So that has always been my foundational set. So when I put stuff up on TikTok, I've hired staff members that I have in the office now through TikTok. I hired a manager to come from TikTok. I hired the drivers from TikTok. I found a couple of software developer guys, one of whom I'm going to be interviewing sometime next week, that I'm most likely going to bring on. So, like, social media has its positives, but it also has its negatives, and people choose a lot of the times to get in that negative communication ball. Like, they see a bad comment and they pile on that bad comment. Scroll down and start to look at the other comments. Correct. And you'll see the positivity, and you could bridge off of that. But I just, like, some of them I don't even bother to respond. I don't. Like, you look at my comment thread, I don't respond to it because it's a waste of my time.
Waste your time.
Absolute
man.
waste.
Yeah, man, we can go on and on about that whole. That's another whole world.
That social media world.
But yeah, JP, man, what you've broken down to us today, man, has been refreshing for myself, for our listeners, I know for sure around the world, because, just them practically seeing. This is what we're talking about, the essence of the journey, right? The essence of the journey. You see, hey, if I would have saw you a few years ago when you were out there in Manhattan doing your thing, and like, oh man, but they didn't see you at night.
No.
And everything was gone, like, oh,
like, man,
You're in that basement.
Yeah, you're in that basement, rock bottom's basement.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it is the work. Like, people like to. Jay-Z said this the best. People want to emulate the end result, but they don't know the process that it took to get there. And if a lot of people, when you tell them the process of what it takes,
they're like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good. No tack against
And that's
them.
okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
But not me, because I know what the slow drip model gives you.
Yep.
Versus just taking it all at once. I'd rather just take it all at once and go from there.
Oh man, love it. Well, travelers, man, we've come to the end of another show. We want to thank JP so much, man, for just breaking it down for us, man.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful, and this is just. I'm gonna say not the beginning, because he's already in the middle of this journey, but at least in our relationship with him and just following and seeing what he's doing, so much more to come. Just listen to his conversation, listen to people that he's talking to. There's so much more, but we really hope that you guys are taking the time to go back, rewind this, take out your notebook, and just write all the different notes, all the different nuggets, all the different books you can identify where we're pulling philosophies from and ideologies and all these different things, and which encompasses who he is today. Just make it a game for yourself and then go read the whole book. You know what I mean? Like, just, it's something that you now have this information, see someone going through it, but knowing that he's just a regular person.
Regular guy, put my pants on like everybody else, man.
Exactly.
Like everybody else.
I was reading this one book actually on the way here, and I'll end with this, and I can't remember the exact routine. I'm listening to the book. When I say read, I listen.
It's the same thing. I listen to an audiobook every drive up to New York.
Exactly.
Don't worry. I'm with you.
So, and I'm reading this book, right? And they was talking about how these guys, man, they were all American players, basketball players. I think it was maybe Bill Walton or Pat Riley, one of those teams back in the day when they were playing. Who was it? You know? My son's saying his name. What was it?
Was it Kentucky?
Nah.
Pat Riley.
It could be one of them. All right, so here we go, right? So they all get into the locker room, and their coach, the first thing he shows them is how to tie their shoes and will put their socks up in the right position, how to tuck their shirt in the right way, and how to tie their pants,
string, yeah.
string. He said, I want you guys to know that everyone in here knows how to do that perfectly. Because then we do that perfectly, everything else that we're going to do,
Build the next
we're going to
skill
build
set.
the next thing perfect. And when we're done building this unit,
Yes, sir.
well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And I love the aspect he's saying, hey, piece by piece, every single day I'm writing something down. I'm not trying to just blow it out the water one day, one big session, 6-hour session, let's go, let's get it all done.
You didn't get to the position that you're in one day. You're not going to change it in one day.
You're not going to do it. So listen, guys, man, we love you. We thank you for checking us out again for another week. And also remember, like I said in the beginning, go to our website. You'll see a little bit more of JP's bio. You'll see it in the notes here about him. Well, if you have anywhere, people are like, man, TikTok, where are you at on TikTok? Like anywhere that people
Like I said, it's so weird to me
Yeah.
to do this. Like, I'm on TikTok, Tailpipe08.
Okay.
There's a couple of fake pages out there, but Tailpipe08, it's like over 30,000 followers now, I think. I don't post often now just because of my ops tempo, and I'm on Instagram at Tailpipe. J. Alfred is my name.
Yeah.
It's got a helmet from my military time. And yeah, any questions you guys have, I will always try to respond. Like I was telling them, my TikTok inbox is spicy, so hit me up on Instagram instead. I will always.
I said that.
Yeah, I will always respond as best as I can.
Yeah.
I even take meetings with people. The 55th minute of every end of hour, I always respond via video chat or audio call to people who have business questions that they need help with. I might not know the answer, but I damn sure know somebody who does, and will always point you to a direction that I think that would help you.
Love it.
All right.
Love it.
Well, travelers, that's it. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one.
Take
Love.
care.
All right. Man,
Yo,
appreciate you, man.
Yo,
Thank you.
beautiful, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.